So today we're going to be reacting to microphone Justin Jefferson just created a nightmare.
4-year, $140 million contract extension.
Thank you for getting this deal done. This is the start of it, but we ain't done yet.
Makes him not only the highest paid wide receiver in history, but the highest paid non-quarterback.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it finally happened. The most important contract of the offseason has officially been signed. And the repercussions of this one contract is going to affect many teams that have upcoming expiring wide receivers.
4-year, $140 million contract extension.
Thank you for getting this deal
Damn.
done. This is the start of it, but we ain't done yet.
Makes him not only the highest paid wide receiver in history, but the highest paid non-quarterback.
Yeah.
Yo, that's
Well, ladies and gentlemen,
crazy.
it finally happened. The most important contract of the offseason has officially been signed. And the
You know what? Question of the day. If you were making $35 million a year and you were Justin Jefferson, what is the first purchase that you would make? What is the very first purchase?
repercussions
Leave it
of
down in the
this
comments.
Contract is going to affect many teams that have upcoming expiring wide receiver contracts. So before we get to the content, first I wanted to apologize if my voice is sounding a little funky. I have some sort of mystery virus that I've been trying to fight over the past 8 days, and I don't think I'm doing myself any favors by recording. But on top of that, I'm thinking about giving away some copies of NCAA Football 25. If you're interested in that, let me know in the comment section down below. Now that we get all that out of the way, work! This is practically free money. To celebrate Game 1 of the NBA Finals, PrizePicks is giving the
LA.
and then, and lively as always, more on this. And then if you want rebounds in the $55 followed there as well on everybody. There's no question about it. Or the sponsor. Mic check 1212. What's going on, everybody? There's no question about it. The best wide receiver in the entire NFL is none other than Justin Jefferson. From the moment
Facts.
this individual entered the NFL, he was dazzling everyone with his route running, his ability to make nearly impossible receptions, and how he somehow, some way would always find a way to get wide open. The only thing I could compare Justin Jefferson's career to is the wide receiver equivalent of Patrick Mahomes. Never see a wide receiver entering the
I haven't
NFL
heard that,
and in
but okay.
year one coming down with 1,400 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns. The crazy part about this was, in order to get Justin Jefferson, the Minnesota Vikings had to trade their previous wide receiver one, which was Stephon Diggs.
And you know what's crazy is that was probably the best move the Vikings have made in probably the last 20 years. They traded away their number one stud receiver, who has one of the best Viking moments in the past 25, 30 years, almost maybe ever, and they went and took a chance on Justin Jefferson, and Justin Jefferson is twice the player Stephon Diggs.
To the Buffalo Bills for the pick that would become Justin Jefferson. In year 2, Justin Jefferson proved it wasn't a fluke, getting over 1,600 receiving yards and 10 touchdowns, and once again being named a second-team All-Pro. In 2023, which was his last full season where he was fully healthy, Justin Jefferson had over 1,800 receiving yards, 8 touchdowns, finished top 5 in MVP voting, won NFL Offensive Player of the Year, was a first-team All-Pro, and a Pro Bowler. And even this past year, Justin...
The crazy fact, too, is he did all of that with Kirk Cousins. Bro, if you gave him a Patrick Mahomes, even a Josh Allen type of quarterback, could you imagine the type of numbers he'd put up? A quarterback with a better arm.
Jefferson wasn't able to play through a full season, and through the 9 games he played, this man still had over 1,000 yards receiving and 5 touchdowns. There's no question about it. This man is the heart and soul of the Minnesota Vikings. So there was a huge question about how much this man was going to get paid. And to be honest, the situation was so complicated that the Minnesota Vikings had to make major adjustments to their team. I'm not saying that Justin Jefferson is the main reason that the Vikings moved on from Kirk Cousins, but whenever you have the best wide receiver in the NFL that is expecting a record-breaking deal, you definitely have to think about how viable it is to pay your quarterback $50 million a year, which I'm assuming is what the Vikings thought they would have to pay to get Kirk Cousins to return, but alas, the Falcons didn't even pay.
Could you fucking imagine paying $50 million to a Kirk Cousins type of player? Could you imagine? And then you have Patrick Mahomes over here getting paid chump change compared to that. And he is exponentially better. That is just fucking ridiculous to me.
Pay him that much.
Opera GX is the best browser in the entire world. I've said that a million times now. I made the switch from Chrome.
Nevertheless, the Minnesota Vikings had a very clear path to retain Justin Jefferson. They just needed to get a quarterback that would be on a rookie scale contract, and that they did. During the NFL draft, there were two paths that this team could go in. There's reports that claim that the Minnesota Vikings were interested in trading Justin Jefferson during the NFL draft, and I don't doubt it at all. When you have a talent like Justin Jefferson, obviously it makes sense to dangle him and see what you could get in return for him. The problem is, it's very difficult to get Justin Jefferson's value in return in the NFL draft. I mean, it's very rare that you see the top wide receiver in the NFL available to be traded for when he hasn't even hit his prime.
Could you imagine Justin Jefferson on the Chiefs? Could you oh my lord. Just imagine fucking Patrick Mahomes running around the pocket, escaping per usual, throwing it deep, probably on the Bills. Justin Jefferson catching it, gonna go 80 yards for a touchdown. Could you imagine? Oh my god, that'd be a cheat code. And in Madden, that would be crazy.
Yet, which is scary to think about. But then you also have to think about the teams that would be willing to part with those assets to get Justin Jefferson. What team would give up multiple first-round picks in order to trade for a player that deserves to be the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL? It's nearly impossible to find, and you won't ever get the value of Justin Jefferson in return, which in my opinion would have been 2 first-round picks possibly. And it's kind of interesting because we would hear reports like this after the NFL draft.
Now the question is, do they pay Justin Jefferson, right? Now, all right, that's the fair question. If somebody offered, but if they could have gotten Neighbors for Jefferson, they probably would have traded him. But to trade him for draft picks that you don't know what you're getting back, how do you trade them? Everybody says, well, trade a player for 2 number ones. Well, I don't know what I'm getting with those 2 ones. Whereas if I traded him for Neighbors, who was a legitimate, could be a cheap number 1 receiver for 4 years, okay, now I could do that. So that becomes another issue.
Okay, so Justin Jefferson, everybody's assuming he is going to get paid because of the decision to move on from Kirk Cousins, bring in Sam, and then also draft a young player. Don't have to spend as much money at the trigger position. We can pay a wide receiver. That's seemingly how the market is shaping out.
Now, I don't know if this was a leverage play to tell Justin Jefferson, hey, we're willing to move on from you if you don't want to sign with us. But what I think is more realistic is at a specific point, the Vikings realize that they need to pay Justin Jefferson as soon as they possibly can, because there are a lot of wide receivers that are up for contract extension. And so far, the Philadelphia Eagles realized this, signing Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown to a contract extension earlier this offseason. The day before A.J. Brown got his contract extension, Amon-Ra St. Brown was extended by the Detroit Lions. We currently know that CeeDee Lamb is in a contract dispute with the Dallas Cowboys, and he even said himself that he doesn't mind waiting a little longer so Justin Jefferson could get paid. Then you have Jamar.
And this is what kills me as a Cowboys fan. CeeDee Lamb is a great player. Don't get me wrong at all. However, you can't sit here, have one great year, and say, oh my god, I'm the best tier of NFL receiver. Like, no, you're not. You're not there yet. Please do it like 2, 3 more years. Justin Jefferson was doing it for 4 years. Justin Jefferson deserves that money. Whereas you have CeeDee Lamb who's coming in, he's thinking he deserves 35, 40 million being the number 1 receiver because A, he plays for the Dallas Cowboys. B, also because he had 1 great year. Dude, play another great year before you're demanding 35 million. Right now he's holding out of OTAs and he's going to hold out of training camp in general. Just like, because he knows Jerry Jones is going to pay him that bag if he just sits out and just complains. Because that's what all the Cowboys stars do, and it's so annoying as a Cowboys fan. It's just like, come on, can we just not do this, like, at all, please? Like, last person that did it was fucking Ezekiel Elliott. Guess what happened for the Cowboys? We paid him. He turned into literally a non-starting running back, and we let him walk, and then now he's not even on our team.
Chase and T. Higgins that still haven't showed up for camp. You have Jalen Waddle that was extended during the offseason, and you currently have Tyreek Hill that is also angling for a contract extension. So it's essentially a race to pay your wide receiver as quickly as possible, but Justin Jefferson's contract was going to be the benchmark. This is the best wide receiver in the entire NFL. This is how much he's getting paid. If the Vikings could get ahead of the
that's a hard outfit. That's hard as fuck. Yo. Bro, what is good with Patty's helmet there? Yo.
Like a good contract in a few years' time. And that's exactly what the Vikings did. Justin Jefferson announced this on Monday morning.
Come on.
Time for growth. Funding from Biz2 Credit makes it possible.
The time has finally come. The deal I've been waiting for since I was a little kid. Being doubted my whole career, not being highly recruited, not being the first receiver off the draft board. This whole journey wasn't easy for me. First off, I want to thank the man above. Without God, wouldn't be possible at all. To be given a gift. To
What did he post this on
at
Instagram?
the highest level.
Probably.
It's a blessing. It's an honor. My mom and dad, thank you. This is a journey for all of us. And y'all still with us every step of the way. To my brothers, Ricky and Jordan, y'all are everything. Y'all made me who I am today. This is a new step in our journey, a new step in life. Always dreamt of this moment, and to now share it with all of y'all, a dream that we all had. It's a blessing. Kevin, Connor, Quezzy, the Wilfs, I appreciate y'all for giving me this opportunity. Ben, my agent, thank you for getting this deal done. Last but not least, thank you to the fans. Y'all set the tone, y'all set the mood, y'all set the energy, and I'm definitely excited to set that energy for 5 more years. Thank you, all of the ones that supported me throughout the whole way. This is the start of it, but we ain't done yet.
This video was coupled with Adam Schefter making the announcement. Vikings owner Mark and Ziggy Wilf. Over the first 4 seasons of his career, Justin entrenched himself as the best wide receiver and one of the most electric players in the NFL.
That's
He's
facts.
a special talent, a committed teammate, and an excellent representative of the Vikings. Justin has earned this contract, and we are thrilled he will remain a Minnesota Viking for a very long time. You would then find out what the contract was, and to be honest, it's a pretty good contract.
One thing that's always so funny and so weird to me is how teams and franchises, they always have like their own thing. Like with the Vikings, how they had Randy Moss. Now they have the second coming of Randy Moss. The Packers, how they went from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers. Now they have Jordan Love. Or you could even say the Dallas Cowboys, how they always consistently find the best like offensive line some fucking how. And it's just like, how do they keep doing it? And it's just like how every franchise has their own thing is so cool, and it just like repeats. Like the history just repeats for whatever reason. And like I don't know how that happens, but it's so funny and so cool to me that like all what each franchise is known for, like their star player, it always gets repeated somehow.
According to Adam Schefter, a record deal. The Minnesota Vikings and 3-time Pro Bowl wide receiver Justin Jefferson reached agreement on a 4-year, $140 million contract extension that includes $110 million guaranteed and makes him not only the highest paid wide receiver in NFL history, but the highest paid non-QB in NFL history. Justin Jefferson's deal includes $88.743 million due at signing, the highest non-QB guarantee at signing in NFL history, and it resets the wide receiver market. In my opinion, this is kind of what I expected Justin Jefferson to get paid, and he really deserves it. And I think the Vikings are huge winners for getting this done so soon. You're not going to have to deal with Justin Jefferson holdouts now, which is very important considering the fact that you just drafted J.J. McCarthy. But even furthermore, you have J.J. McCarthy, who is on a rookie scale contract on your team. I've commented on this a lot in the past, but in terms of situations to go into, I mean, Caleb Williams has Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and Rome Odunze to throw the football to. Jaden Daniels has Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, and a much more improved offensive line.
Yeah.
Then you have J.J. McCarthy, who has the 3 sons to throw the football to. Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson, and Justin Jefferson. I mean, these are some remarkable situations to go into if you're a rookie QB. And
those are some fucking targets right there. Those are some targets.
And focus on football. to help the development of J.J. McCarthy or build chemistry with Sam Darnold. Now, this is kind of bad news for the rest of the impending wide receiver free agency.
Yeah, like my Cowboys.
Brandon Ayuk has been in a war with the San Francisco 49ers throughout the entire offseason. T. Higgins and Jamar Chase haven't showed up to OTAs. Amari Cooper's expecting a contract extension as well. And then we have CeeDee Lamb, who when you compare to Justin Jefferson has 700 less yards for sure, but has more total touchdowns, 3 Pro Bowls, 1 less All-Pro.
Damn, that is a
seasons to play in the NFL. So this changes
that's
everything
tough.
for
That's tough.
wide receivers in the NFL. And it's why I made a video on the Dallas Cowboys titled "This is a Disaster," because they waited way too long. You could have went up to CeeDee Lamb 2 days ago and signed him to the largest contract in football, paying him $32 million a year annually, which is very significant considering the fact that the Cowboys have to pay Dak Prescott and eventually Micah Parsons.
Yup.
So now you waited too long, and CeeDee Lamb's probably going to expect like $34 or $35 million a year annually. In terms of T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, in the past I was a little concerned about whether or not the Bengals would be able to sign both of them, but now that you're seeing a trend in the NFL where Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill are getting paid big money.
And you got to remember that the Bengals, it's actually pretty vital that they keep both T. Higgins and Jamar Chase because they don't have Joe Mixon anymore. Joe Mixon's now on the Texans, and they lost their slot wide receiver, Tyler Boyd. So now they realistically only have those 2 targets, and both of them aren't signed yet. So if the Bengals don't sign anybody, Joe Burrow's going to be like, he's going to look around and say, what the hell happened? I went from having 4 or 5 stars around me to now I have 1, maybe 2. He's going to say, damn, all because I got injured 2 years in a row. And that's no fault of Joe Burrow, but it's like, damn, the Bengals were looking good. They were looking like the only team that could actually contend with the Chiefs. And ever since Joe Burrow's been hurt, no one else has really put up with him.
Smith and A.J. Brown are both getting big contracts. Sure, Devontae Smith isn't getting paid as much as A.J. Brown, but in the past you would see teams that were unwilling to even pay 1 wide receiver. Remember, A.J. Brown got traded from the Titans to the Philadelphia Eagles because the Tennessee Titans were wondering if it was Ryan Tannehill making A.J. Brown or A.J. Brown making Ryan Tannehill. So they thought that they could get
we all know how that went down. A.J. Brown was the better one. And guess what? They drafted A.J. Brown's replacement, Traylon Burks.
So far, that's not working out so well. I mean, don't get me wrong, sometimes it does work out. Sometimes you get Stephon Diggs being traded for Justin Jefferson. But in this case, now we have to turn our focus and attention on Brandon Ayuk, who's also been in a war with the San Francisco 49ers. Personally, I could see the 49ers and Ayuk coming to terms on a 4-year deal that pays him $31 million a year annually. I feel like T. Higgins could return to the Cincinnati Bengals, but he would have to accept a contract that is kind of where Devontae Smith's or Jalen Waddle's contract is, something that pays him about $115 million through a span of 4 years. In terms of CeeDee Lamb, I think CeeDee Lamb's going to get paid the exact amount Justin Jefferson is getting paid.
I can see that.
And a new can of worms is, this is how Tyreek Hill's agent feels about the contract that Justin Jefferson just received.
It's safe to, acknowledge that I've been in touch with Chris Greer and Brandon Shore of the Dolphins. I certainly have a fluid line of communication with them, and I've shared with them how Tyreek feels. And I'll also reiterate that Tyreek has said that he would love to finish his career here with the Dolphins. So without getting into any more specifics, the Dolphins know how we feel.
I think that Jamar Chase could potentially beat Justin Jefferson's contract if he decides to play out this year.
I think Jamar Chase is better than Justin Jefferson. That's me personally.
So really,
he deserves that money.
The Bengals want to handle T. Higgins and Jamar Chase's contract.
Yeah.
He's either going to beat Justin Jefferson's contract, not that he's better than Justin Jefferson, I just think that's how it's going to go, or he's going to get the same exact contract as Justin Jefferson. We're going to do a deep dive on the Cincinnati Bengals situation this week for you guys because I think that's so complicated. Let me know what you guys think about Justin Jefferson's contract in the comment section down below. Do you think he was paid fairly? Do you think he was overpaid? Or do you think he should have been traded? I'd like to hear what you have to say. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.
Alright, that is our video. Alright, drop in the comments what you would do with Justin Jefferson $35 million. What is the first purchase you would make? What is the biggest, most expensive, most extravagant thing that you would buy? Drop it down in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and peace out.